Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about Rotary and what it means to be a Rotarian. With us right now we have Rob Gallagher.
Good morning.
Good morning. We also have Kaitlyn Blosser. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
For having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, and it's great to talk about Rotary and why you're a part of this and what Rotary really does. I know, Rob, you're kind of been a Rotarian for over 2 decades, right?
That's really true. Maybe even closer to 3 decades, which is a little crazy. I actually joined Rotary right out of college. I was a real estate agent over in Kennett Square at the time, and I asked my father. I said, it makes sense to be active in the local community, and he said Rotary Club does more than anybody. So started in the Rotary Club of Kennett Square, and what's interesting is right out of the bat I had an instant personal board of directors because the 48 other members of that club were great mentors for me as I was growing as a professional person. Gave me all kinds of philosophy and things that I still operate my life by today, which is really cool.
Wow, what a great way to start everything for you, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah. Now, Kaitlyn, you're new to Rotary, right?
Yes, a little less than a year.
Okay.
But I'm loving every minute of it.
What drew you to Rotary?
Well, it was really just becoming a part of Lancaster County. I moved here from Nashville, Tennessee, and before then I was from Dauphin County, and being in Lancaster, didn't know many people professionally, and so this was really a great way to learn a little bit more people and have that mentorship that I was really striving for.
Yeah, and I think with Rotary too, we talked about how old this is.
That's right, yeah. Rotary's been around since 1915.
Wow.
Started in Chicago actually it was a group of local business people got together. And they called it a Rotary Club because there was only one person from each category, classification they called it. And it started out as sort of a networking event, a weekly networking meeting. But then there were 2 other parts to Rotary. One was community service, and the other was basically having a social network. And so that was really the basis of it. In Rotary we have kind of a core philosophy, which is the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. They're very simple, but actually if you follow the 4-way test, it's impossible to make a bad choice. So first, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it will build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to everybody concerned? And it's interesting, if you have 4 yeses to whatever you're looking at doing, that's a good choice in your life.
And that's what it's all about. It is life choices beyond the organization. It's what you do in business, in community,
That's right.
family, all of that as well, right, Kaitlyn?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I bet you've met some interesting people. And what have you learned so far in your year there?
Well, really, I've been quiet, and I'm really just trying to take in everything. There's so many experienced folks around me, business-wise and personally. So I've learned really just to be true to who I am and always be honest in what's going on, whether it's professionally or personally, and always keep looking for something to continue helping the community. There's so many people out there, so in any way that we can help, I certainly want to be a part of.
Absolutely. Now, there are international clubs, and there's what, like 35,000, did you say?
There's 35,000 clubs worldwide.
Wow.
And what's interesting in the clubs worldwide, we're able to make up at all these different clubs. I've made up in Finland. I've made up on Grand Cayman, which was spectacular. I'm going to Italy in a couple weeks. I'm going to be making up at the Verona Club and a couple of other clubs while I'm there. Because when you're there, you're meeting the local business leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are getting stuff done. And so what's interesting is it can convert a vacation or a business trip into a really personal kind of experience. So yeah, 35,000, it's a lot of effort around the world.
A lot of legs on this, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, and because of that, something that Rotary has taken up and is a major part of is something we call Polio Plus. And there's a lot of people that don't even know what polio is anymore, but it's basically a debilitating disease that affects the spine and how the signal is sent through your spine. And there's actually a vaccine for it, but it was something that people had in the United States. Of course, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had this disease. and it is this far from being eradicated from the world. And Rotary's part in that, we call it Polio Plus, but Rotarians have contributed millions and millions of dollars. But more than that, we gave the World Health Organization and others something they didn't have, which is a network in virtually every town and city across the globe.
Wow.
And so we've actually had Rotarians in war zones, like in Afghanistan and Iraq and other places that are out there as bullets are whizzing by, giving people vaccination shots, which is just crazy when you really think about it.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a big impact that Rotary has on the world.
It absolutely does. Do you know how many Rotary clubs there are in Lancaster County? What did we decide? 13 or 14, I guess, right?
Yes.
There's 13 clubs.
13 clubs? Okay,
yes.
great.
We got it certified.
We got it certified. It's 13 clubs. Okay, so the two of you are a part of the Lancaster Club.
Yes.
That's correct.
Tell us about where that meets, how many people, all that.
So we meet at the Lancaster Farm and Home Center for lunch on Wednesdays. So it's every Wednesday. It starts at noon. Usually people get there a little bit early just to chat and talk about what's going on in their lives. And the meeting runs until 1:30. During that time, we'll have a speaker. We've had some absolutely incredible speakers come and visit and share what's going on, in the world and in their life and in our community.
Yeah.
And then to touch base on that as well, we also have a Rotary Rendezvous, which is a little bit more up to kind of people with me hanging out my age. That's kind of how I...
yeah. Don't you mean our age?
Yes,
You mean
yes, our
age?
age.
Oh, okay, our age. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But Rotary Rendezvous is in the evening hours, so it's more of a happy hour get together, and it's a little bit of a shorter meeting where we meet at Stoner Grill twice a month at 5:30, and that meeting goes till about 6:30, and then we stay after and we have a drink, we enjoy dinner together. It's more of this fellowship, more one-on-one communication in a smaller environment.
Yeah, and this Lancaster Club is one of the biggest ones in the area, right?
We're actually second largest in our district, which is basically south central Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So so we have about 225 members or so.
How many usually come weekly?
Usually about 180, 185.
So it's yeah.
Still very popular,
Yeah.
even for the middle of the day.
Yeah, and yeah, right, and that's exactly what it is too.
Yeah, it's interesting though in Rotary, no matter the size of the club, when you're in the group, if you don't want to miss it because it's almost like missing your favorite show. You're visiting with your friends, and there's kind of an ongoing story going on in the club of what's going on, and so there's a real connectivity that happens no matter no matter the size of the club. It almost doesn't make a difference. So it's
Right.
a magic part of Rotary.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's really nice too, kind of bouncing off what you said, is you're meeting with doctors and lawyers and huge decision makers in the local marketplace, but you're really getting rid of that title, and it's one-on-one communication, and you're able to talk to them and learn so much together.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to get together too, to show the face of Rotary. And here we have two faces, right? What you
guys.
may think, is Rotary versus what Rotary is today. So how would you describe Rotary today?
So Rotary today is actually really interesting. We're in a transition time right now, where we have kind of a generation that is in the process of retiring and really handing the reins over to the millennials and to the Gen Xers, and in that transfers there is a transformation that's happening in Rotary already, as we've already kind of discussed. There's sort of the traditional lunchtime meeting that's happened for 100 years. And then there all of a sudden there's an evening event that happens periodically, and we're kind of looking at, hey, and I know every club is looking and saying, now how can we attract this next generation of people into our clubs to serve the local community, and have it be interesting, impactful, and valuable to them in their lives.
Yeah.
But the core concepts of Rotary, the four-way test, as I mentioned before, the associations, the fact that you're not allowed to use last names at Rotary. Like, everything is first name. It's a very, very personal thing. The other thing that hasn't changed one bit about Rotary, we talked about Polio Plus, an international program that's changed the world. That came from one Rotarian. One Rotarian had an idea. Crazy idea when you think about it. We're going to eradicate polio. and from that, someone else in their club helped them, and someone else, and all of a sudden, through enrollment, it became an international program. I helped start a club at Longwood Gardens, and we had a program my 4th year, my presidential year in that club. It was called Operation Warm. And that year, we clothed 2,400 kids with brand new winter clothes. That program was actually ranked one of the top 175 programs in the world of Rotary that year. And that program went on to and became a national program, standalone nonprofit that last time I checked had clothed over 150,000 kids a year. So Rotary starts things, like right here in town, our club helped start the refugee center, which is an incredible thing. Most people don't know that Lancaster is one of the largest receivers of refugees from all around the world. Each year I believe we have about 900 people that come into our community from all over the place. And so the Refugee Center is something that Rotary helped start, and now it's a standalone organization.
Yeah. This is such a learning experience, and it's really stretching you and opening up, well, the community and the world to you, isn't it, Kaitlyn?
Yes, and I think there's so many things. Not only am I learning from folks like Rob, but he's also learning from me as well. So whenever you pair that together, you can certainly make changes and start a whole new operation, similar as we did for the refugees.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say to someone who is as young as you, and they're thinking about joining a Rotary?
You mean as young as us?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Just checking.
Well, I think we've established, yes.
Hey, I played here too.
Yeah, that's good.
What would you say?
I would say certainly come out and try. There's no reason that you can't come and have a drink with us and learn about what we're doing in the community and ways to get involved. It'll be eye-opening.
Yeah.
My experience coming in for Rotary, I was actually sitting at Stoner Grill having a dinner and a drink, just enjoying after work quiet, and I looked over and there was a group of folks who were meeting, hanging out, and I kind of kept looking over, like, what's happening over there? I want to be a part of that. And sure enough, they come over and introduce me. And that's really how it all started. So whenever you're least expecting it.
Yeah. So if we happen to see you at Stoner Grill and you want to get involved, come over and say hi, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole key. The whole key of life is say hello.
Always to say hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one other thing I just wanted to mention just about Rotary in general, because we were talking before about how things have changed. There's a much higher degree of synergy in Rotary. So you have business owners, business leaders, people are up to things in the world, and them working with each other in different ways that moves everyone forward in their business and in their career is also a major thing that has shifted in Rotary over the last, say, 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to take a brief pause, and we come back, we're going to switch out. We're going to bring another past president here, and we can get some views from her as well. So stay with us.
Catch local sports every night at 8:30 on LCTV 66, your local connection.
Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about Rotary and being a Rotarian. And joining Rob Gallagher and myself, we now have Ashley Corbett. Ashley, you are a past president of the Penn Square.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for being here. And we didn't mention earlier, you were with the club secretary with Lancaster.
That's
is that
correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful.
So I'll be president in a couple years.
There you go.
2021.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've been a Rotarian how long, Ashley?
For 5 years now.
5 years, okay. So you weren't originally from this area, but you got here. So give us a little story.
Yeah, so I grew up in Frederick, Maryland, lived out in the suburbs of Philadelphia for a while, and then came out to Millersville University, and I just really fell in love with Lancaster County, Lancaster City in particular. And our club is comprised of members that work in Lancaster City, that just love Lancaster City or live here, and some of them don't. So just a real love for the community is what brings us together.
So where do you meet? Where and time?
So we meet at the Federal Tap House Wednesdays from 5:30 to 6:30. So we're considered a happy hour club. So come, you can get a drink if you like, or if you don't. We have usually some pizza or some food provided by the Tap House. They have great food, and we ring the bell right at 5:30, and at 6:30 we're dismissed.
Well, I like the whole idea too that there's times for everybody. There's also a sunrise club too, right, Rob?
There's a sunrise club that meets up at Bent Creek Country Club. I believe they're a Thursday morning club. and just a terrific group of people. Matter of fact, I know they have a car show coming up, I think on the 21st.
Okay.
So looking online would probably be the best place to go. But I think they're putting up signs all over God's creation right now.
Yeah, and there's an online directory. So
there is.
There are 13 clubs. There's meeting times and days for everyone's schedule. And then, of course, if you can't make it one week, that's okay.
Yeah.
And you can always do makeups or visit other clubs if that works for you.
And as we talked a little bit earlier, there's a lot of different clubs that you can, go see internationally and nationally as well, too. I know one of the areas we really wanted to talk about were 6 focus areas, right?
Yes.
Okay, what are those?
Yes. So Rotary has 6 areas of focus. We generally try to put our community service initiatives in one of those 6 areas of focus. So we have maternal and child health. We have basic education and literacy, conflict and peace resolution. We have disease prevention and treatment, economic and community development, and Rob?
Clean water.
Clean water and sanitation.
Wow.
Yeah. So our most recent community service project that the Lancaster Penn Square Rotary Club initiated were sewer guards to protect the sanitation system. Lancaster City has a combined sewer system, so it's really important that we protect it from all of the debris that can get down into the sewer grates or the sewer. So we protect that with guards. So we partnered with Lancaster City on this project and a local manufacturer, and we installed 16 or 17 sewer guards throughout, mostly around the square. So part of that 6 area focus, the water and sanitation.
Oh, that's great. How big is Penn Square Club?
Our club is about 15 members.
Okay.
So we have some that are consistent every week. We have a couple of snowbirds, but we're a very small, intimate club. It really does feel like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, too, depending upon the club size that you're a part of and what the experience is, too, right, Rob?
That's right. And what's really great, and all the clubs in Lancaster County are fantastic. All 13 clubs, no matter what the size. What's really interesting, when you show up, you'll just know you're in the right place. If you're connecting with the people in there, and it's funny, you always seem to make a fast friend, But I remember one thing I just love about the Penn Square Club I got to share is there are different times where they play board games. You get there and the event for the night is playing board games, right? You guys still do that?
We occasionally have game nights.
I love that. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it really helps with the camaraderie. I mean, we know each other so well. There's 15 of us. We know each other on a very, very deep way. So we share a lot of things together. During our meeting we have happy bucks where we can share kind of what's going right and what's going well. It is like a little family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, and it's funny, our club is a larger club, but still has a family feel for different reasons. But you begin to make those relationships, and you're seeing. It's almost like every time you're seeing old friends, which is just so cool.
Yeah.
And and one of the things that we're focused on, as you guys are, is with at-risk kids in Lancaster City, and so we have a mentoring program over at McCaskey, which is a monthly event that happens during the school year. And what's so great about that is we're talking about the family, is that when we're together there, like that group of mentors we're there for the kids, but we're also together as a group, and it really kind of binds the club together in a way, in a different way, So whether it's board games or whether it's something that you're focused on, being involved, just joining a Rotary Club to join a Rotary Club, that's stay home, But if you want to come out and do something and and really take action in making the world a better place right here, this is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
And a really great way to feel connected is our international convention. We have district events. We have all kinds of events that you can attend with great speakers, great service projects you can be a part of. There's global grants. There really are unlimited ways to connect with other Rotarians across the nation or internationally. We also have fellowship clubs. So if you're a fan of wine or motorcycles or chess,
there you go.
There is a fellowship club for any interest that you can think of. And it really connects you with Rotarians all over the world.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know, as we were saying earlier, the face of Rotary is changing. Is there any age restriction either side with being a Rotarian?
So there really isn't. I started when I was 22 years old. Many people, it's interesting, they start wherever they start. and they tend to stay. And people tend to stay in Rotary as it works for their life. So a lot of times Rotary has been accused of being, kind of older people and guys in particular, but that's really changing. Rotary has really shifted. Not only, I would say it is a fair statement to say we are an exceptionally inclusive group in terms of allowing everyone to participate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say there is a younger limit. So if you're in high school, there is a different kind of club for you, and we have Rotaract clubs and different things that you can be a part of. So once you're out of high school.
All right. So how do you become a member, and what are your responsibilities, obligations, and that sort of thing?
So it starts just by visiting. So if you want to visit a club, you just show up for that day. There's no obligation. Different clubs have different rules about how many times you should visit before we talk about becoming a member. But it's really just about enjoying each other's company. There is a formal membership process that you can be introduced to after a few visits. Okay,
and what's involved? How involved is that process?
So the process is, relatively involved. There's an application process. The board of directors of each club will kind of look over that application and say, hey, is this a person that we believe is going to be a fit for our group? It's also put out to the club to affirm that that the group is like, yeah, we really want to include this person in our family. And then what's interesting, there's a tradition that goes back to the FDR days of it's called a Fireside Chat, and so we'll sit down. Doesn't matter the size of the club, and you kind of go through all the responsibilities. Hey, here's what our club does, soup to nuts. Here's what the expectation is. Here's what the fundraisers are for the year, and here's kind of the etiquette of being in each club. So it allows the person that's coming in to know exactly what's expected of them in each club, and so that's the way you guys are. Is that true?
Yeah. So I mean, there's weekly meetings. Obviously, you're not expected to be at every weekly meeting. Participation in community service projects. We have a lot of different projects that we do regularly. We have a Hearts for Lancaster fundraiser where we work.
Could you talk about that for a minute? Because that is such a great program.
It's really fun. So we've been doing it for a few years here, and it's really exciting to see it pick up momentum as it goes. So we are posting these hearts. They're probably about this big on the lampposts in Lancaster City. There's about 4 on each lamppost, and you get the ability to customize your heart. So you can have, Rotary Penn Square loves Lancaster. We started it the year my husband and I decided to get married, so I had a Donnie, will you marry me, love Ashley heart. And it was fun because you get to walk downtown with your loved one or whoever your heart is for and, point it out. So it's a really nice opportunity to connect with the community. We've had lots of organizations that have participated, and we always take the money and roll it back into the community somehow.
That's great.
Can you share what you guys have purchased or helped the city purchase with those dollars?
Absolutely. So most recently, the sewer guards that we helped partner with the city to install. We helped to purchase bicycles for the Lancaster City Bike Ambassadors, and there is also a tiny home project that we were working on with other clubs to help.
Oh, that's great.
Downtown.
So if someone is interested in Rotary, where do we go? There's a website?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a great website.
That's right. So, one of the great things to do is to just look up. I think if you Googled Rotary in Lancaster, the local clubs would come up, and then just begin the process to see which one's going to meet your schedule, and visit the clubs and see which one you really mesh with. It's a tremendous way to give back. It's a tremendous way to grow as an individual. Really, Rotary has an unbelievable impact that's darn near invisible in Lancaster, because I know between all the different clubs in our county, we certainly give more than $100,000 a year back to this overall community in the county, and it may actually be over $200,000. Just as individual clubs are having fundraisers and giving back that way.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
You truly have shed light on the face of Rotary and who is a Rotarian and what difference you're making in the community.
Yeah. Thank you for having
Diane.
us.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'd like to say thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.